school for nearly 40 years, and I learned long ago that you don't win with machines or with methods. You win with people. That's why Farm Bureau Insurance is a perfect sponsor for our team. They believe in the abilities of their own people and the people they serve. That's why I'm a Farm Bureau member.
Get real auto, home, and life coverage. Contact a Farm Bureau insurance agent near you.
Call our local Moxville office at 336-751-6207.
Checking your hometown forecast for the weekend. Mostly cloudy conditions on your Saturday with a chance of showers and possible thunderstorms. Look for around Saturday of 86. Showers and thunderstorms likely on Saturday night, overnight low 65. Looking good for your Sunday, a mix of clouds and sunshine. High Sunday afternoon, topping out at 85. That's a look.
Just a few technical difficulties there. Not exactly sure what happened, but we're back broadcasting, and we would like to, we got something here we want to report everyone needs to be made aware of, and that is reported by the Canadian Free Press. First Lady now requires 26 servants. I want to say that again. First Lady now requires 26 servants. August 21st, 2009, Canadian Free Press. Now, I want to quote Michelle Obama. In my own life, in my own small way, I have tried to give back to this country that has given me so much, she said. See, that's why I left a job at a big law firm for a career in public service. Remember that during the campaign? Michelle Obama, as was reported on July 7th, is not served by 22 attendants who stand by to cater to her every whim. She is served by 26 attendants, including a hairdresser and a makeup artist. The annual cost to taxpayers for such an unprecedented attention is approximately $1,750,000 without taking into account the expensive of the lavish benefit package afforded to every one of the attendants. So I just wanted to report that. I've not seen that anywhere in the mainstream press, and everyone should be appalled. But that's how our elite in America live that govern us, the mere peasants. So as we continue with the news, and I believe broadcasting this way, we can take phone calls. So if you'd like to call in at 1-866-986-6397, and we'd like to take your calls before we go off the air. We've got about 20 minutes or so left. It was reported this past week in the Toronto Star, IMF says you will have to pay more taxes. August 21st, 2009. The International Monetary Fund says most countries will need to raise taxes to pay off the trillions of dollars they spent fighting the global recession. IMF Chief Economist Oliver Blanchard says in an article to be published that governments acted properly in ramping up spending to stop the worst slump in World War II. Soon, he says, nearly all countries will have to raise taxes to pay the recovery bill. Canada's Finance Minister Jim Flaherty has rejected the idea he will have to raise taxes to pay off about $47 billion in stimulus spending. But, Brian, doesn't it make sense with all the money that has been allocated? We've reported that the Federal Reserve System has looted the Treasury of some $12 trillion, and the American people are on the hook for it. That there will have to be taxes raised. North Carolina has already come out with $1 billion in tax hikes.
Yes, they have, Farron. And the people here in North Carolina, where we are broadcasting from here at the WSIC studios in Statesville, North Carolina, the people here are upset about it. I mean, $1 billion in new taxes here here, especially in North Carolina, all our textile companies have moved overseas, and of course North Carolina was highly dependent on the tobacco industry, and obviously that's tanked over the past decade or two. So North Carolina has been devastated here within the past 15 years. All of our major agricultural and industrial output is taking a real beating.
We're going to continue with some more news, and I agree with you 100%, Brian, and the American people need to wise up and take a hard look at what's actually going on as we go through this by design economic collapse. The Huffington Post reported this past week, Paterson, New Jersey considers curfews for adults. Patterson, New Jersey, curfews might not be just for kids anymore in one northern New Jersey city. Seeking to curb violence after a spat of deadly summer shootings, Patterson's officials are considering an unusual ordinance that would prevent people of all ages from gathering outside in public at night. Don't sound much like freedom, does it to you? The measure could be the nation's first citywide non-emergency curfew to include adults, several experts say. We're trying to think outside the box, said Mayor Josie Torres. This will trigger predominantly by fear among city residents over the shootings that have been occurring this summer. So Patterson, New Jersey is so dangerous, so crime-ridden, violence is so bad that the people that are not lawbreakers are going to become under the measure of law and have to submit to a curfew. That's where we're at in America, people. Everyone needs to take a look into that. But again, while we've got just a couple minutes before we go to break, I want to remind everyone, starting September 5th, we're going to do a series, not sure how long it's going to last, at least 4 weeks, or maybe several weeks longer. We've got Chuck Baldwin, former presidential candidate and the Constitution Party. He's going to be our guest on September 12th. We're going to be discussing the War Powers Act. Has the Constitution effectively been suspended? This is something that I was not aware of, that we ran up on during research a couple of months ago. I think everyone will find this very interesting. If you're new to this, you can look into March 9th, 1933, the Farm Bill, where FDR effectively did suspend the Constitution. Also, all the other measures he enacted, like the Emergency Banking Act, where the American people, it was illegal for you to possess gold up to a $10,000 fine if you didn't turn in all of your gold. What happened during this economic collapse, the people had deposited gold in the banks. When they took their certificates to redeem the gold, the banks, up and behold, didn't have the gold. And they petitioned FDR to start the bank holidays. And then there was the reissuance of a completely new currency. When we talk about maybe a new currency coming out here in America, wouldn't be the first time this has been done. The American people were effectively robbed and looted in 1933 of actual value, the gold. And then later he did the silver. So it's all happened before, and we're seeing it again. But I think you'll find this very interesting. And then again, as we said, as late as 1973, Senate Report 93549, they admitted that we had been under emergency rule and the Constitution had been suspended since 1933. And then in 1994, John McCain admitted that we were still under emergency rule. So we have sent this information to our Congresswoman, Virginia Fox. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. I think everyone will find this very interesting. This is what Chuck Baldwin is going to be discussing. Dr. Gene Schroeder is going to also be with us later in the month. And we will have several guests. Rodney Miller from Hickory, hopefully he's going to be joining us to discuss this. He has done a lifetime of research on this subject and was very well learned in this topic, so I hope everyone will enjoy that. Right now, we do have FDR's inaugural speech on the website, worldnewsradio.com. You can go there and not only listen to it, but you can watch it. We'll be playing some excerpts from it in our very first broadcast on this series, September 5th, and I think if you listen closely to what he said when he was inaugurated, and this is something I had never heard anyone speak of, you'll find it extremely interesting. He pretty much told us what he was going to do. We're coming up on a break. We'll come back with our last segment. You're listening to The Real News with Farron and Brian.
704-876-0374.
That's amazing. That's just amazing.
You see it in a variety of ways. For example, I'm seeing a lot less traffic going down the road than they did 1 or 2 years ago. People are staying home because you can't. If you leave your house, you're spending money as soon as you leave your house. You're burning gas. You're gonna stop, get something to eat. You're gonna shop, whatever you're doing. So rather than get into that trap, I think you're just staying home.
What's your thoughts on this cash for clunker deal? Is if all these vehicles are being sold right now because of cash for clunkers, isn't it going to then we're going to see a slowdown just because of, if they sell a whole bunch right